Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is September 12th. Sorry about that yesterday, a little bit of a mix up there. I said September 6th. That was the September 11th forecast there yesterday. But taking a look at yesterday morning, you can see that we did have some of that marine layer into Southern California. The fires were still producing quite a bit of smoke. You can see the smoke extend all the way across some of the desert areas in towards Nevada and into Utah and Arizona. And these fires look like they're going to remain active. We'll take a look at that. The weather model's coming up, and then we'll take a look at the troughing coming through here because it's really going to cool us down and potential to keep us cooled down through the extended forecast as well. So we're going to dive into those details. But let's take a look at what we saw yesterday. You can see the fire smoke being produced across the bridge and the line fire down there. Not quite as bad as the previous day, but as we scroll through the overnight hours, you can see those hot spots, and I believe that is the airport fire right there. And of course, the Los Angeles Metro is right here. San Diego's there, and you can see the state of California. So we scroll on in towards this morning, and you can see again the marine layer bubbling around and some of that smoke being produced by the fires there, and kind of a mixed bag up and down the coastline. Taking a look here, this is the Cal Fire here.gov, and you can see they do a pretty good job. They tell you how these fires are doing, how much of them are contained, but you can see the bridge and the line fire are still not that contained at all, actually, for the bridge fire. 18% for the line fire. You can see the Borel fire and the Park fire on the flip side of that. Much of those systems are contained, fire systems. So taking a look at the high resolution rapid refresh 12Z run, this goes out 48 hours. This is what's going on as we go through the day today. And you can see as this flares up as we go through the afternoon hours, some of the smoke might be moving back over Orange County, back into Los Angeles County here as well. And you can see this just mess of the smoke drifting around the area. So if you are seeing that smoke in the sky, or if you are smelling it, you know where it's coming from, as it's just kind of blankets portions of Southern California, and eventually the worst of it drifts north as we go through Saturday morning. It looks like we'll revisit that tomorrow as well. And we do have some rain and storm chances here as we go through this week. And you can see Phoenix National Weather Service calling attention to that. We'll take a look at what this means for most of California here as well in a moment. But probability of wind gusts here, 25 miles or greater today. And you can see this up and down the coastal, not the coastal areas, but the inland areas. The coastal areas are also going to be windy as well. But this includes the I-5 corridor right there. And nothing too crazy, but just going to keep that in the back of your mind. It will be more of a northerly wind. And this is going to spill down into the San Joaquin Valley as well. And I'll show you that here starting right now with the North American model. The coastal areas here, you know, this persistent northwest wind that is almost always with us as we go through the summer months. Now we scroll on in through today, and you can see these winds pick up as we go through this evening and tonight across some of the Sacramento Valley, and at times during the San Joaquin Valley, especially in the afternoon and evening hours, you see there. But nothing too crazy there. Nothing like what we were getting last night across some areas, especially Southern California. That has finally come to an end. Now, accumulated 10 meter max wind gust. Going to scroll through this really quick, just kind of showing you that we're not dealing with anything like we were last night. You can see some of these gusty winds up and down the coast, and still some breezy winds for the higher terrain, but nothing quite too crazy. Now, what is coming up here? We're going to take a look at the European. This is yesterday afternoon's run. This goes out 240. Actually, this goes out 360 hours, 15 days. But if we put this into motion, you can see this tropical system out here bubbling around. We've been watching that one. It does not look like it's going to bring a meaningful surge of moisture back into the state of California. And then we can see the next system start to roll down as we go through the weekend. A bit of an inside slider. It does set up right over the state, but it doesn't have the better trajectory to bring some better precipitation dynamics into the state of California. But we'll be watching that. Any kind of change in that track can have big implications on how much precipitation and who gets precipitation. But you can still see it's going to bring some to the higher trend, the Cascades, down through the Sierra Nevada as we go on into the early portion of next week. Then we're going to get a bit of reinforcement in that trough. And we've got additional troughing that may be trying to drive down into California as we go through the extended forecast, showing up more in the GFS. I'll show you more on that here in a moment. But if we look at the European, this is last night's run here. This is 500 millibars, 18,000 feet. And when I say this is the system right over Montana as we speak now, it impacted the Pacific Northwest last couple of days. But when I say inside slider, you'll kind of see what I mean here is these are not too far off the water and not too far off the coastline. So it can't bring that better moisture back up into the state here. So these systems tend to be a little bit drier as they move through. Then you can see the trough gets reinforced here as we go on in through midweek coming up. If we take a look at the GFS, again, same thing here, 18,000 feet. There's a system across Pacific Northwest now. Then the trough comes barreling down right over the state of California here. And again, it's going to leave some areas dry, but it's going to try to bring some to the higher terrain and maybe even some snowfall to the Sierra Nevada as well. So there we go on into early next week. The trough reinforcement happens there, kind of typical inside slider stuff. And then we scroll off into the extended, a little bit of a transient ridge tries to build, but then we get these additional systems, and it's a pure definition of inside slider right there as it moves down across some of the southwest, and then even another one. So yeah, it's got about 4 of them here through the 16-day period on the GFS. Now, taking a look at 2-meter temperature anomaly, this is the GFS as well. So if we scroll through here, we bounce back a little bit as we go through the weekend coming up, but then you see the next system rushing down across the area, and look at pretty much the entire state of California is going to be below average, some places significantly so. So enjoy this cool down coming in here. And again, we could even be seeing some snow for the higher terrain of the Sierra Nevada. And then it kind of continues on as we go on in through next week a bit. We try to bounce back a little, but then as you saw, we've got additional troughing that may try to keep things seasonably cool here across much of the state. And then that last one at the very end of the run, looking way out into the crystal ball. Total snow, 10-to-1 ratio on the European model. So taking a look here, let's see when this starts to show up. You can see as we go through Sunday night into Monday is when we start to see some of that snow flying, maybe across the higher terrain here. And if we take a look at the GFS next, I'll show you what it's saying. This is the last night's run. This is total snow 10-to-1 ratio as well. Now we're going to scroll through here and let's see if it starts showing up in the same time frame as we go into Monday morning. There it is a little bit here, very early Monday morning, and check it out. Again, showing some of that snowfall potentially for some of the Sierra Nevada here. So we'll be watching that one over the next few days. It'll be interesting to see what the high resolution models show when that gets into range as well. So total precipitation in inches on the GFS. As these systems come through, you can see that, as we go through Monday, it starts bringing some for the higher terrain, maybe even a little bit for the Bay Area. Again, just depending on how that upper level low sets up as it moves down the coastline. And if it moves inland a bit further, then it's going to leave much of the Bay Area and some of the coastal regions high and dry as far as precipitation is concerned. But again, we have multiple troughs moving down here, so you can see some areas are getting targeted pretty well, including portions of northeast Nevada and northeast California and northwest Nevada. 6 to 10 day below average signal, as was what we saw, and this trough just continuing to move down the west coast of North America. This goes through September 21st. Here's the 6 to 10 day precipitation as well. It does include some of California, kind of a broad brush here. We'll see how that goes. Again, it's going to depend on the track of those troughs and how that troughing sets up off our coastline, or if it just kind of continues to be these drier inside sliders. Now, drought monitor, check it out. They did extend some of this moderate drought down into places right on the California-Arizona border, as you can see. A little bit of an extension there, and some addition of abnormally dry across some portions of central California as well. So still doing pretty good, relatively speaking. So thumbs up for that. But anyway, yeah, we'll go ahead and check this all again tomorrow. We'll try to get some better agreement on those model runs, and as we get closer to the high resolution models, we'll have a better idea of what's going to happen, and if we see some snowfall, just how much across the higher terrain. How much is the state going to cool down? Are we going to get some gusty winds from these systems? We'll dive into all those details as we go through the future days. So anyway, hope you guys are liking the channel. Click like and subscribe. We'll do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.